study section 6, Exchange Rate and Balance of Payments, the Elasticity Approach. Introduction. We began this course by looking at how the rest of the world influences the activities of the domestic economy. We proceeded by looking at the foreign exchange market, the determination of exchange rate, and the concepts of balance of payment. Recall that balance of payment recalled the financial transaction of economic activities involving an economy and its trading partners, that is, the inflow and outflow of goods, services, and factors. Inflow and outflow of goods and factors require exchange of currencies, which necessitates demand for or supply of domestic currency, foreign currencies. And as we know, changes in demand for or supply of domestic currency tend to affect exchange rate. It follows that there is a relationship between exchange rate and balance of payments. Our earlier discussion did not treat this relationship. Recall also that exchange rate tends to affect both current account balance and capital account balance, and hence the official financing. Also, inflow and outflow of goods, services, or capital affect exchange rate. This implies that changes in exchange rate, depreciation or appreciation, can result to current account deficit or surplus because of its impact on exports and imports. Current account position can lead to appreciation or depreciation of exchange rate. In this chapter, we shall examine the possible interaction between exchange rate and balance of payments. The literature submits many theories that investigate the relationship between exchange rate and balance of payments. Among these theories are the elasticity approach, the absorption approach, and the monetary approach. These theories were used to examine whether devaluation, depreciation can improve balance of payment or worsen it. The elasticity and the absorption approaches will be treated in this chapter and the next chapter respectively, while the monetary approach will be treated later. Objectives. At the end of this chapter, you must be able to do the following to be able to derive and understand the Marshall-Lerner condition. Apply this condition to answer some questions arising from the effectiveness of devaluation on current account deficit. The elasticity approach to balance of payments. The idea of elasticity approach to balance of payments is to examine how current account balance responds to devaluation, depreciation. This framework was first established by Marshall A. 1923 and A. Lerner 1944, and later extended by J. Robinson 1937 and F. Matchlock 1939. The basic assumption under this approach is that supply elasticities of domestic export and foreign import demand are perfectly elastic. That is, domestic and foreign prices are fixed so that changes in relative prices are caused solely by. The key message of the elasticity approach is that devaluation affects current account directly in two ways. Devaluation can improve current account balance or worsen current account balance. The issue we will resolve in this section is how each of these effects can be encountered. We begin by expressing current account as the value of net export. That is, if domestic price is P, foreign price level is P, and exchange rate is R, then current account balance is expressed as follows, where S and M have volume of export and import respectively. Now, assuming that price level is 1 in each country so that the value of export proceed is X and that of import is M. Hence, equation 6.14 can be written as, now consider a small change in current account caused by either a small change in X, M, or R. That is, think of a slight change in current account DCA caused by slight change in export value DX, exchange rate DR, and value of import dm. Your knowledge of simple calculus is required to express equation 6.15 in different forms as follows. Now, let us examine the change in current account due to a change in exchange rate. This implies differentiating equation 6.16 with respect to R. Let us now define two important terms. First, the price elasticity of demand for export, which is denoted as Gx. Second is the price elasticity of demand for import, that is depicted as Gm. The first term Gx is the percentage change in export due to percentage change in exchange rate, while the second term Gm is the percentage change in imports due to percentage change in exchange rate. Symbolically, the two terms are expressed as follows. Making the x and the m subject of the equations in 6.18 and 6.19, we have, if we substitute equation 6.20 and 6.21 for the x and the m in equation 6.17 and simplify, we have, substituting we have on cancelling the r from the first term on the RHS and the m on the second term, we arrive at equation 6.22. Divide equation 6.22 by m to get now. Suppose that the economy maintains balance of trade equilibrium, the value of export and that of the imports will be the same, and hence the term x over Rm is equal to 1 in equation. Introducing this in 6.23, we have multiply each term in equation 6.24 by m. Equation 6.25 is the key equation in the elasticity approach. The equation says that starting from the position of balance of trade equilibrium, a devaluation will improve the current account balance only if the sum of the elasticities of foreign demand for export and home demand for import is greater than 1. That is, if Gx plus Gm is greater than 1. If, however, the sum is less than 1, devaluation would deteriorate current account balance. The third possibility is that devaluation will not have any effect on current account balance if the sum of the two elasticities is exactly 1. The above equation condition, which is derived from equation 6.25, is usually referred to as Marshall-Lerner condition. That is, to improve current account, Marshall-Lerner condition requires that the sum of the two elasticities must be greater than 1. If the condition is violated, current account will deteriorate or at best not be affected. Let us use a hypothetical trade example to show when the condition will hold and when it will not hold from the hypothetical tables. There are different changes in current account position even with the same devaluation policy. A close examination of the tables will show that there are two effects at play. The first effect is the price effect, while the second effect is the volume effect. When exchange rate is devalued, as we have shown earlier, export becomes cheaper and this will lead to increase in the demand for exports. In the same vein, imports become expensive, leading to decrease in import demand. The volume effect works through more demand for export and less demand for imports. The price effect works through reduction in the price of export measured in terms of foreign currencies, an increase in the price of import measured in terms of home currency. The volume effect appears to favor current account improvement, while price effect tends to favor current account deterioration. This leads us say that the final effect of devaluation on current account position depends on which effect dominates. If it improves current account, it must be the case that volume effect overrides price effect. As can be observed in case 1, price effects dominate because export demand responded sluggishly to devaluation while import responds relatively faster. Since the responsiveness of import is higher than the responsiveness of export to exchange rate devaluation, value of import is less than value of export. Current account worsens. In case 2, export demand responds faster and higher to devaluation than import demand. Export price is more favorable than import price and hence export value is greater than import value. As a result, current account improves. The third case is the increase in export volume and decrease in import volume exactly match the decrease earnings per unit of export and increase export per unit of import so that the current account is unaffected. Economists are divided over what the sum of the elasticities is. The optimists of the elasticities concept argue that the sum is always greater than 1, while pessimists argue that the sum is always less than 1. The optimist position appears to favor industrialized countries, while the pessimist position tends to favor the developing and less developed countries. This is because the least developed countries are heavily dependent on imported raw materials. Thus, the price elasticity of demand for imports will be low, relatively inelastic, while the developed countries' demand for import is elastic. Hence, the key message from the ML condition is that devaluation may be a cure for some countries' balance of payments, but not for others. However, Gylfason, 1987, submitted that between 1968 and 1971, ML condition held for 15 industrialized countries and least developed countries. This created another issue as to when and where ML condition is necessary for balance of payment adjustment. A general consensus by most economists is that elasticities are lower in the short run than in the long run. The possibility that in the short run the ML condition may not be fulfilled but holds generally in the study section summary. In this chapter, we examine the effect of devaluation on current account balance using elasticity approach. The elasticity approach proposes that devaluation of exchange rate will improve current account only if the Marshall-Lerner ML condition holds. ML condition holds if the sum of price elasticity of demand for export and that of import is greater than unity. If it is less than unity, then current account will deteriorate. If it is unity, current account will be left unaffected. Whether ML holds or not depends on whether volume effect overweighs price effect or not. If the volume effect prevails, then current account will improve. If price effect prevails, current account will deteriorate. This is the end of study section 6. Thanks for listening.